Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Keeping It Chaotic podcast. My name is Ava.
My name is Cheyenne, and today we are basically diving into the whole Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift kind of drama that is just everywhere and unavoidable, especially post Grammys. I feel like it was a little switch up for them, so we're just going to be basically diving into that.
Yes, but before we kind of go into that and explain why we chose to talk about this topic, because there is like a very specific reason, we want to give our Guts Tour setlist predictions and our dream setlist for the Guts Tour, because obviously it is starting this week on Friday, I believe. So that's super exciting, and we are going in August at the Kia Forum for closing night of tour. Yes. So we're really looking forward to it. Do you want to start or should I start? You start.
Okay. Yeah, so we do have two different set lists. So the first one that we are going to say is going to be what we think her actual set list will be. So what, start to finish, like we have the order and everything. And then the second set list that we have is our dream set list. So it's just what we want to hear. Yeah, is yours in order in the way that you want it? Or is it just like songs that?
Mine's in order.
Oh, okay, well, I don't really know. It was so hard because like literally every song that she sings is my favorite. So it was so hard for me, I think, to do a dream set list because I want to hear every song. And I feel like she could do all her songs and it would still work, but I know that's not going to happen. So for her actual set list, what I think is going to happen, I think she will open with All American Bitch. And that'll go into Get Him Back. And then it'll go Pretty Isn't Pretty, Deja Vu, Lacy, Making the Bed, Logical. I think she'll do Can't Catch Me Now, Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl, Brutal. And then I have Traitor, Driver's License, Good For You, Teenage Dream, Vampire as her ender, and then as her encore I put Bad Idea Right. We did see her at Jingle Ball. She did open with All American Bitch, so I feel like that was just kind of a little like taste of what her tour would be like. And I think because she already has that like opener made, I do think she's gonna open with that, and I think it's a great song to open with. Her last tour was Brutal, and it was fantastic. I hear like the beginning of Brutal and it just brings me back to that exact moment. Yeah, we're still not okay, by the way. I feel like we just keep passing this fucking sickness back and forth. I also have 2 toddlers, so it's just like a constant, it doesn't go away. I was fine. Now this cough is back and I'm dying again, so apologies.
My cough has never gone away, so if I sound like funny, that's why. Anyways, my prediction for her actual set list is starting with All American Bitch, Bad Idea Right, Deja Vu, Pretty Isn't Pretty, Vampire, Can't Catch Me Now, Traitor, and Teenage Dream. And then for Sour Tour, she kind of like split her set list in half and did like a second set in an outfit change. So I kind of went off of that too because I feel like there is a possibility that she repeats that. So technically there's like 2 openers, I guess. So for like my second set, it's starting with Ballad, Brutal, Lacy, Making the Bed, Logical, Driver's License, Good For You, and Love Is Embarrassing to end it. And then for the encore, I put Get Him Back. I feel like very solid lineup.
Yeah, I am also realizing I didn't put Love Is Embarrassing.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was looking at your list too.
Yeah, wow. Interesting. I don't even know where I would put that in. I didn't put on either.
Yeah, you fucked up.
I did. I fucked up on that one. Sorry. It was just an overwhelming task. I feel like we were literally before we started this episode so stressed out, like, oh my god, no, we need to move this around. That's not right. We got to redo this. And still, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I could still change it. Like, how do they do this?
How do they make set lists? Because if it was me, I feel like Niall recently has been like trying to figure out his set list, and he's like, "What songs do you guys want to hear?" Like, I'd be so stressed out as an artist trying to do this.
Yeah, especially with like all the technicality of it, like lighting, stage work, like how
Transitions.
how does that outfit changes? How do they? I guess they're they're artists for a reason. So, okay, moving on to my dream set list. I still kept All American Bitch as the opener. But I did Brutal, Vampire, Logical, Making the Bed, Bad Idea Right, The Grudge, Traitor, Good for You, Favorite Crime. If she does not sing Favorite Crime, I will. No, I'm not gonna be okay. That is one of my favorite songs ever. And then after that, I put Jealousy, Jealousy, Can't Catch Me Now, Lacey, Teenage Dream, Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl, and then the encore, I put Get Him Back for mine.
Yeah. Favorite crime. We both talk about this all the time because during Sour Tour, we went so hard during Traitor, but we didn't give that same energy to Favorite Crime. And since then, we've always been like, she has to play Favorite Crime again. We have to be able to scream the bridge. Like, it's just been this like ongoing thing between us where it's like we need to hear Favorite Crime live again. So I agree with you. My dream set list, I changed the opener to Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl because I just think it's the perfect opening, especially for this tour. And I think it's a missed opportunity if she does not open with that. But All American Bitch is perfect too. I just love ballad with like everything in me. Starting with ballad, Love is Embarrassing. Oh my god, my voice. Oh my god. Starting with ballad, Love is Embarrassing, Vampire, Deja Vu, Pretty Isn't Pretty, Making the Bed, Driver's License, Lacey. And then again, I did like the two sets. So All American Bitch, Bad Idea Right, Can't Catch Me Now, Traitor, The Grudge, Favorite Crime, Good for You, and ending with Teenage Dream. And then the encore is Get Him Back. I feel like ours are like completely different.
Yeah.
But
I think it just shows like how different we truly are. Like, I feel like a lot of people that watch the podcast or listen, whatever, they're like, oh my god, they're basically like the same person. We are like actually not the same at all. I mean, we have like things we have in common, but I feel like with artists and songs, even style, like anything, we are so complete opposites. So this was like definitely interesting. This is like my first time hearing Ava's because I sent her mine a few days ago just because I was like so stressed out and I was like, oh my god, this seems so wrong. Like, I don't even. But yeah, I think going into it, I knew our set list choices were going to be very, very different. But yeah.
I think even when Guts came out, we were like sending each other like our ratings and stuff, or like our rankings, and hers was like Logical, Making the Bed, The Grudge, and mine was like
Ballad, freaking All American
was
Bitch.
like Teenage Dream, Ballad, American Bitch, and it was just like completely different.
Should we say our ranking? Do you have it still?
Yes, yeah, I still have it if you want to.
That would be fun.
Sure, why not?
We can give you. Okay, I would just like to preface that like we have 3 different ones. So we have like the day that I think I have the dates on it. Hold on.
I don't, but we have like the day that it was released, and then like maybe a week later, and then maybe like a month later, because it changed like so much.
But I think my number one stayed the same, and I'm pretty sure it's Logical. I fucking love that song so much. Where is? Oh no, did I delete it? Yeah, maybe I don't have it. Oh my god, that's breaking. I do. I have it. I don't have the dates, but yeah, I do have 3 different rankings. Should we just do our last one?
Yeah, let's just do the last one.
So for my final Guts ranking, oh my god, I feel like this has changed since.
I definitely think mine has changed also.
Okay, I'm just gonna say what it was. The last time that I edited this was September 25th, 2023. So that was December, January, February. That was like almost 5 months ago. So it's clearly changed so much. But as of that day, my number one was Logical. Then I had Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl, Get Him Back, The Grudge, Lacey, Teenage Dream, Vampire, Making the Bed, Love is Embarrassing, Bad Idea Right, All American Bitch, and Pretty Isn't Pretty.
Okay, mine, I last edited it on October 1st. So, my top has stayed the same. Teenage Dream, love that song. Get Him Back, Ballad, The Grudge, Making the Bed, Lacey, Vampire, All American Bitch, Love is Embarrassing, Logical, Bad Idea Right, and Pretty Isn't Pretty. And I know that we said for the longest time that Pretty Isn't Pretty was like the bottom, like, period. That has changed a lot for me.
And it's not even that it was bad. It just, I mean, I love that song. I just think from my personal ranking, it's not a song that I typically like. I'm going to put on Pretty Is It Pretty. It's normally like, I want to feel sad. I'm going to put Logical on. Or I want to feel like upbeat and like motivated, whatever. I put on Ballad. So it's like, I don't think there's ever been a point where I'm like, I'm going to put on Pretty Isn't Pretty. But that's just, my personal opinion.
Yeah, and like there's no bad songs on Sour or Guts, so it's just like our personal ranking. Don't come at us for it.
But I also think at the end of the day, I will always be a Sour girl, and I think Ava's more of a Guts girl.
That's also where we're completely different. I am a diehard Sour or Guts girl, and Cheyenne is a diehard Sour girl.
I think like it's just so much was happening at the time of Sour being released. I was also like 4 months pregnant with my youngest daughter when we went to see Olivia for the first time. And it was also the first time I ever felt her kick and move. And funny enough, it was during Enough for You, right? And oh my god, me and Ava both started crying. We were like, oh my god, she loves this song. Like
She literally turned to me and goes, "Oh my gosh, she's kicking me right now." And we both just started sobbing.
yeah, like up until that point, like she wasn't very like active. Like I felt her like slightly move, but then I was like, maybe it's just in my head. I don't know. But yeah, literally during her speech, right before Enough for You came on, she started moving like crazy. And I was like, oh my god, I'm going to remember this forever. So that was a very special moment.
Yeah, so that kind of wraps up our setlist predictions and dream setlist for the Guts tour. We might post it on our Instagram just to have it up. So if that might just be easier for everyone to see and kind of understand. So we'll post that. But I think we can get into our topic for today, which is going to be a lot. We both took a lot of notes about this.
Yeah, I genuinely felt like my calling was to be a journalist of some sort because I have dates, I have like all these notes, I have timestamp, like everything. I haven't seen anything that Ava has written, so I'm interested to see. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Quite a lot. So this episode might be a long episode as well. How do we even like start this?
Yeah, well, so this topic who? So this topic came up because I was just scrolling on TikTok one night, as one does, and I came across this like 10-minute video about this girl talking about the Taylor and Olivia situation, and she gave just like really good opinions and like different takes on this situation, and I watched every single second of this video because immediately I was like, I 100% agree with what she was saying. And I'm gonna shout out her handle. It's at self_wife on TikTok. But she kind of opened this TikTok with saying, quote, "I think the reason why artists like Sabrina Carpenter and Gracie Abrams are brought on to share a stage with Taylor is obviously because they are enormously talented, but they do not threaten Taylor's position in the music industry. And I think the first person to threaten her position, according to Taylor's team and as well as just the general public, was Olivia Rodrigo." and I sent it to Cheyenne, and I was like, oh my god, we have to talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah, I feel like immediately wheels started turning, and we were like, we could probably talk about this forever, because the amount of like the switch that just instantly happened between this person that was the world's biggest Swiftie to never speaking about her again was just what something clearly had to have happened that was, you know, terrible or traumatic on Olivia's end to just go from loving somebody so much and literally being her biggest idol and inspiration to just not making comments about it, not even going to the Eras tour, like nothing.
Yeah, and like before we even dive deeper into that, before anyone says anything, we are not trying to like bash either person. We are genuinely such huge Swifties and huge Livies, and we're just talking, like everyone has talked about it. Everyone has their own opinions and has their own like scenarios of what happened, but you know, we're gonna defend both of them like our life depends on it. And
yeah, there's no bad blood here.
yeah.
Like, no pun intended, haha. But there's not. We love them so much. I don't think there'll ever be a point that we're like, oh my god, I love Taylor more, I love Olivia more. I feel like they're similar, but they're also so different that like they're not even comparable other than like the fame itself. So yeah, I think we just start at the very beginning. Okay, where I got most of my information was an article that I found online from Elle magazine. So I'm not taking credit for this whatsoever. Like, this is just like notes that I took. And
Don't sue us,
yeah, please don't sue us. I'm giving you full accountability. I mean, some of it is like my sorry, I got a text. Some of it is like quotes from the actual article, and I'll say that and then just kind of give like our opinions on it. Like I said, I have timestamps of everything, so literally starting from the very beginning of, I guess, their like public relationship.
Can I just say, I feel so weird talking about this for reasons I'm not going to disclose, but just like it's kind of like a weird thing to talk about. So
So yeah, we said like how weird it was that like Olivia was this huge Swiftie. She had posted covers, like all of these things that just everybody knew that she was a big Taylor Swift fan. Up until things started going downhill. So I have driver's license debuted on January 8th, 2021. And within hours, it had skyrocketed to the 3rd spot on iTunes, the first 2 being Taylor's songs from Evermore. And then I guess Olivia posted a photo to, I believe, Twitter, and she posted a screenshot of the top 3 and said, next to Taylor on the US iTunes chart, I'm in a puddle of tears. And then Taylor Swift commented on that, saying, I say that's my baby and I'm so proud. Obviously, everyone was like, oh my god, this is like her moment. Everyone was so excited for her. And then the next day, January 9th, Olivia's song overtook number 1. And then I also have February of the same year, Olivia was talking about Taylor on the Travis Mills show, saying, quote, biggest idol to me and biggest songwriting inspiration. To have her blessing was really, really special. So still, you know, she was very inspired by her and obviously was wanting the world to know, like, this is my person, like, this is why I started doing that.
yeah, like obviously we all know that she was so outspoken about being a huge Swiftie during the creation of Sour, and obviously somewhere between the time she released Sour and I feel like between her tour, obviously things went south and she started to distance herself from Taylor by not mentioning her in interviews or just like anything. Like she just completely dropped, like stopped name dropping her, I guess.
And then my next timestamp is March of the same year, 2021. Taylor Swift had sent Olivia a handwritten letter and also a ring, like the one that she wore while writing Red. I also have a note on there that I would like to backtrack to this at some point. So yeah, I'm not going to get into it now. We're just going to like lay out all the facts first and then kind of go from there. Olivia said, quote, Taylor's been really lovely and so welcoming of me. I feel really lucky to be in an industry at such a young age where I get to walk through so many doors that she's opened. I'm really, really lucky to have her as a mentor. And then the following month, April 2021, Taylor shared online that she had sent the new version from Fearless, Taylor's version of You Belong With Me, to Olivia and Conan Gray. In the same month, Olivia released the album cover as Sour wearing the ring Taylor gifted her from her Red era. And then following that, in May 2021, they meet for the first time at the Brits, and we got the iconic picture of Taylor and Olivia that literally broke the internet.
Yeah, I think that when that photo came out that day, everyone was like, oh my god, this is like the biggest, like, she was already acknowledged by her on social media and everything, but like to actually meet her, like we were just all like so incredibly proud and happy for her that she was finally meeting her icon IRL.
And then 1 week later from the Brits, Sour was released on May 21st. It was then reported that on May 20th, so the day before Sour came out, Taylor and Jack Antonoff were given writing credits on One Step Forward and One Step Forward, Three Step Back. And it was because basically what Olivia had said was they elaborated saying that we interpolated New Year's Day. So basically they just like re-recorded kind of like how do I even describe this?
To be honest, I don't know. Basically like they used New Year's Day's the track of New Year's Day by Taylor Swift for Olivia's song.
Yeah. So it's not extremely specified like who reached out to Olivia's team. I don't know if it was Taylor herself or like Taylor's team.
Well, that one was known because they're
Taylor then. Right?
Well, they got permission.
Okay.
Because there is a thank you note in the Sour vinyl to Sabrina Carpenter. Why was that even the first name that came to my head? Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff. So that one was approved.
Known about, yeah.
Yeah.
But also at the time of that being released, like we didn't really think much of it. We were like, oh my god, cool, you know, like Taylor obviously still approves. She loves it. And then my timeline cuts to July of 2021. It says, in July, another song credit was given to Taylor for Deja Vu. There was a claim that the bridge from Deja Vu sounded like the bridge from Cruel Summer. The circumstances surrounding this credit are a little hazy. There's no clear answers as to whether Swift merely asked for the credit or someone in her team, or if there were any legal proceedings involved. I think that one, at least for me, kind of caught me off guard, just because it was so much later than when the album came out for the claims to be made.
Yeah, I think that's when everything just kind of started going south between the two of them, and obviously like the public realized it because again there was no more name dropping. Yeah. And she started to distance herself from being a huge Swiftie into just being her own artist and career.
Yeah, I would also like to say like we've previously said before, we are huge Reputation stans. We are huge Reputation stans, so New Year's Day is like fantastically amazing for me. So when I did hear One Step Forward, I was like, I kind of hear like the similarities. That one like was a given, I think. Like that one I heard and was like, why does this sound so familiar? But for me particularly, I don't hear the bridge of Deja Vu and Cruel Summer. Like after so many times of hearing it, I kind of get it. But when I heard it for the first time, that's not at all where my brain was at.
No, I totally agree. I don't hear it at all. Still to this day, I don't. and I could listen to it like back to back, and I'm like, I don't hear it whatsoever.
I think it was definitely a stretch in my opinion, but you know.
And I think, I don't know if you have it in your notes, but she had mentioned in an interview that I remember saying that for Deja Vu, she got inspiration from Cruel Summer. Yeah. And I think that's what kind of sparked the credits.
Yeah. I don't have that in my notes, but I do remember seeing that, and I was just like I feel like being inspired by something is completely different than just ripping off somebody, and I don't think that she did that.
And can I just say, if this whole thing was sparked after that interview, what took them so long to realize that Deja Vu was similar to Cruel Summer? Because if that is true, it took them months,
like minimum 2 months to.
It took them 2 months to listen to that song and then realize, only after she talked about it in an interview.
Yeah, I think it's also strange because I think at that point, Deja Vu had become her number one song. So part of it just kind of seems a little like they noticed that it was getting extremely popular. Maybe they backtracked to that interview and were just kind of like, well, we have it here that you were incredibly inspired by Cruel Summer. Or, you know, maybe we clearly don't know the technicality of it, but just based off of our opinions, it's just a little fishy. And then it goes a little bit quiet for a few months, and then starting in December of same year, 2021, it says by December, Olivia had been named Entertainer of the Year by Time Magazine. For the interview, she spoke openly about the accusations around the interpolations on her debut album, saying, "It was really frustrating to see people discredit and deny my creativity." Her producer, Dan Nigro, said, "It seems like people get funny about things when songs become really popular." Which, you know, we said.
Exactly what
we
just said.
Yeah.
We see you, Dan.
Yeah, we see you. We hear you. We get it. Yeah, I think summer of that year, like Deja Vu, complete. Like obviously it was Driver's License, but then Deja Vu became a single, and it just, I think, blew Driver's License out of the park, at least for the time being. And then I have my notes saying like Olivia starts toning down being a Swiftie. She's not really like talked about ever again after that, pretty much. Not much about Taylor is ever mentioned again by Olivia, and vice versa. And then I feel like after that, starting like the early year of 2022, I put suspected feud is talked about on and off for a couple of years, but nothing is confirmed or denied. And then in June of 2023, I have this from the article. It says, while many initially thought Vampire was about her ex-boyfriend, Adam Faze, some sources told People that it could relate to the Taylor Swift situation. So a lot of the lyrics that I'm not going to say, because I don't think we can, like, I don't know. I'm just not going to say lyrics. But you could listen to the song and, you know,
interpret it,
yeah, however you want. I personally never thought about Taylor once. Honestly, while listening to Vampire, I thought it was either Adam Faze or Zach Bia. Those are the two people that I thought about.
I just fucking listened to the song and I was like, yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, but I truly didn't like even involve Taylor in that until I read this article, and I was like, I guess like, yeah, you know, it can be interpreted that way. But that's just not what came off the top of my head when I heard that song. And then where things started getting a little like, oh my god, I didn't even realize that until I read this interview. Like, it started getting a little bit weird, and the like coincidence quote, just days before Vampire was released, Taylor announced that Sabrina Carpenter was one of her supporting acts. And also, I didn't say this prior just because at the time of writing these notes I didn't think it was that important, but I completely forgot about this. Taylor also announced Paramore would be an opener as well, who also had some writing credits given in August, September of 2021 for Good For You, sounding like Misery Business. So, the note that I have, not from the article, this is my note on this. It says, were the openers intentional to let Olivia know Taylor is capable and willing to, quote, isolate her? Or was this just an unfortunate pairing of supporting acts that look slightly fishy?
And also Gracie Abrams being a sour tour opener.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot about it. Like, I love Taylor Swift, but I think the way that the openers around the Eras tour all kind of correlate with Olivia somehow, like, I think it's strange.
You know, I didn't even really think about that, but that literally makes me want to cry.
I think it could, I mean, you know, it could be completely wrong and whatever, but I think in the music industry, when you are on top for so long and somebody kind of comes along, then you get threatened in a way. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with what I say, and I think it's a message to Olivia saying, like, I'm in control and I could possibly isolate you if, you know, you outdo me in a way. And then I have September of 2023. Olivia did an interview with Rolling Stones basically saying she doesn't have a feud with anyone. She has her 4 friends and her mom and doesn't talk to anybody else. She says, quote, I was a little caught off guard. At the time, it was very confusing. When asked, she said she doesn't think she would personally ask for writing credits if a song sounded similar, but added, quote, but who's to say where I'll be in 20, 30 years? All that I can do is write my songs and focus on what I can control. Yeah, and then not much happens at all ever again. She just denies there's a feud. And then we come to January of this year, where Taylor gives Olivia her standing ovation at her Grammy performance. And I don't know, I feel like Taylor supports anyone at, you know, awards ceremonies like that.
She's just the kind of person to stand up, because in a place like the Grammys, it's not technically a concert and there's not people standing up, and she gives that vibe for any performer that goes up on that stage.
It was incredibly, like, she just looked incredibly supportive and proud of, like, everyone that was on the stage. And I don't know, maybe because cameras were there, she also felt the need to do that for Olivia. There was also, like, a TikTok that I saw that Olivia's, like, blowing a kiss to somebody and everyone's like, oh my god, she's blowing it to Taylor. But if you, like, really look at it, it's Olivia's mom, like, sitting right behind the area of Taylor. So I don't know. I mean, we won't know. Only Olivia knows that, I guess. But also there was just, like, this vibe that you can feel, I feel like, from everybody when Taylor announced her new album, and they just immediately, like, pan to Olivia and she's just, like, clapping, like, cool. Like, I don't know. It looked like they were supporting each other, but it could, you know, just be because there's cameras there. So that's just the notes that I've gotten from that interview, that article. But I think the biggest thing that just, like, took me for a curve was all of the openers just conveniently being somebody that has been involved one way or another with Olivia. Because, like, I feel like Sabrina opening for Taylor was kind of like the biggest slap in the face to Olivia after everything that they had been through, I guess. Like, how would you feel if your most favorite artist of all time had an opener that was the girl that, you know, your ex-boyfriend left you for, in a sense?
Well, considering the fact that I'm like near tears right now, I would probably just sob and never go anywhere ever again. So the whole like royalties and credit thing is just so like wishy-washy. I think that excuse you. I think that you should give credit where credit is due, but also at the same time, music, there was just so much music out there. And as someone who doesn't know shit about making music, I just can't imagine how incredibly hard it is to come up with an entirely brand new piece of music that isn't inspired by something else, especially with this newer generation of artists who, pretty much all grew up listening to Taylor's entire discography. And, of course, they're going to take inspiration from her music because, for the most part, she is the reason why they are in this industry as well. And Taylor knows that. I don't know. She knows that. And she prides herself on the music that she makes.
I mean, as she should. I don't know. I feel like this episode was really hard for us to like put into place because it's a topic that we want to talk about and we are very passionate about, but we also don't want it to come off as like we're shitting on one artist over the other or we're making Taylor out to be this bad person because she already gets so much hate. But it was just like interesting things that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and I have here in my notes that Taylor is a businesswoman before anything else, and she cares about her career so much. And I think realistically, she wasn't going to entertain like a full-on friendship with a 17-year-old who has the record-breaking hits that Olivia has. And also the fact that Taylor cares so much about her masters. Obviously, she's re-recording her first 6 albums. She is going to fight for her royalties on a song that, according to her and her team, sounds similar to one of hers. That's the bottom line of all of it. She is going to fight for the right to make money off of her interpretations or whatever it is.
It also puts anyone that is sampling or whatever with Taylor's music, it puts them in a tough spot, I think, just because of everything that Taylor has been through in the past, especially with her music not even being able to be owned by her. She does have this like extra protective layer around her that's just like, this isn't going to happen again. I'm not going to let this happen again. So I understand like that point. Like, not even being a businesswoman, but just being somebody that is so creative and puts out album after album after album just for that to be taken away from her. I get like why she's so protective over it, but also I think the Cruel Summer Deja Vu thing could have like, slid under the rug and been fine. She's Taylor Swift, she's a billionaire. I think, she's fine without that. I don't think it's necessarily about the money ever. I do think it's just more so about the ownership aspect of it.
Yeah, and also Taylor has also been in this position where she is being sued by another artist for one of her songs for Shake It Off. And I watched a whole documentary of this about like the trial and everything on Amazon, I believe, Amazon Prime. And I was like, wow, literally the same position. And now she's on the other side of it. So there's speculation around the fact that Olivia was being sued by Taylor and her team over the royalties. And I don't know, like, obviously none of us know if any of this is true. We don't know the feud. We probably will never know what happened between them. But I'll say that I'm not surprised that it happened the way that it did, which is so unfortunate, but I'm really not surprised at all.
Yeah, I have a note on here that says nothing Taylor does is a coincidence. It is perfectly handcrafted for a specific reason or meaning. With that being said, I want to backtrack to Taylor giving Olivia a ring like hers while she wrote Red. While she wrote the Red album, she had this ring, I guess, that she wore like while writing it. She gifted that to Olivia in her early career of Sour being released. And then when Red, Taylor's version, was released in November of 2021, we obviously got the vault tracks, and one of them is called Nothing New. That one was really interesting to me because that song is literally about her being replaced one day and eventually people getting bored of her.
Did you get that from the TikTok too? Or did you know that before?
I knew that before.
Oh my god.
One of my kids just fell. I'm sorry. Oh my god. I'm just like, whatever. Happens all the time. Yeah, no, I knew that before, and it definitely was interesting to think about. I mean, especially going through this again, I was like, oh my god. I completely forgot about Taylor gifting her that ring until I redid this.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that she wore it in Sour cover.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I read your notes, and I went to my vinyl and I looked and I was like, oh shit, she did. And it was the only gold one.
And it's very visible. Like, she wanted people to see it, and, you know, like, I mean, who wouldn't? If Taylor Swift gave me a ring and I was her biggest fan still at that point, like, absolutely, look at my ring, look what I got, you know? Like, I would scream it and shout it to the world. And at that point, Taylor was still her number one. So, if you have not heard that song, you should. But there's basically a line, and I'm going to read the line from the song. It says, I know someday I'm going to meet her. It's a fever dream. The kind of radiance you only have at 17. She'll know the way, and then she'll say she got the map from me. I'll say I'm happy for her, then I'll cry myself to sleep. I think it's extremely interesting that she specifies the kind of radiance you only have at 17. Olivia was 17 when Driver's License was written and released. Do you think Nothing New was added as a vault because of Olivia? Like, do you think the lyrics were specifically changed to be formed around Olivia?
I don't think so. But I really don't know. Because I didn't realize the connections in the song until like very recently when I saw this TikTok about it, and I was like, oh, that's extremely sus.
I don't particularly think she wrote the specific age of 17. I just, like, for Olivia, I think she wrote 17 because that was the age that, like, Taylor started in the industry. So I think maybe it was like a play on Taylor once being 17 and kind of being this new this new, like, artist, and the world being like, who is this? We need to know more about her. But I think I can't even say like coincidence because, like I said, nothing that she does is a coincidence. Everything is like strategically planned. But yeah, I did think that that was interesting that the ring that she gave her was from her writing Red, and then her giving Olivia at the age of 17 while being number one, the top 100 on iTunes. Like, it's just a very interesting take, I think.
Yeah. Backtracking to the Nothing New lyric, she'll know the way and say she'll got the map from me. It's just like so very specific because Olivia grew up a major Swiftie and obviously took a note from Taylor's marketing strategies with her Easter eggs. And also, back to this TikTok reference, this girl says, quote, Olivia aligning herself with Taylor is a strategy taken from, oh my god. Olivia aligning herself with Taylor is a strategy taken from Taylor's first album with her song Tim McGraw, because every time someone would look up his name, her song would come up, or her name would be next to his in the headlines, and
she basically
did the same.
hashtagged before hashtag was like a thing. She basically, you know, branded herself in a sense with Tim McGraw because she initially came in as a country artist. And that was a smart fucking move on her point.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Taylor doing that and then Olivia doing the same thing years later. Yeah, she took your marketing strategy as, a lot of people are going to do because you're the biggest pop star to like ever come out of this industry. And I mean, what can you do about that, honestly? And also with the fact that when Taylor was starting out in this industry, she labeled herself as a country artist. And, not everyone listens to country. Not everyone is going to venture out and listen to country. So I think that kind of, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but she didn't get as much reach as she would have, as she did when she transitioned into pop music. And on the other side of that, Olivia's labeled herself as a pop girly from the start. And also with Olivia coming from Disney and, from all of her past projects, people knew her by name. And so when she started putting out her music, I think it just took everyone by surprise how good the songs really were. And I think Taylor saw that and realized that she could have the potential to be just as big as Taylor is now. And I think that was really, really terrifying to her because she's never had to really experience that or be put into battle essentially with another pop star.
When Olivia came, she was essentially Taylor's first challenge. She literally blew up overnight. I mean, if you didn't know her prior to her Sour album or even Driver's License coming out, like, she was a Disney kid. How I had known her was she was on a show called Bizarrevark with Jake Paul. I never watched the show, but at the time I was still watching Jake Paul's vlogs, and she was always in them. And I was like, oh my god, who is this girl? It wasn't until like years later she started on High School Musical, the musical, the series, which that one I watched. And just immediately, like, overnight became this huge pop sensation. And I think nobody was expecting that from a Disney kid, like, they weren't very threatened when, they found out she was releasing music because they were just like, okay, another Disney singer, whatever. Little did they know Miss Olivia Rodrigo would be one of the biggest artists. I mean, 2021 was her fucking year. Like, anything good that could happen to an artist happened to Olivia, all within her first year of her first album coming out. Like, she hit all the marks, Grammy nominated, won Grammys. Like, she was untouchable at that point so quickly. And I feel like even for Taylor didn't hit that, at least not that quickly. Like, it took a while for her to be Taylor Swift, like, I feel like that was just a big shock to everyone, and especially somebody that's been so high up in the music charts for so long.
Like, and basically untouchable by anyone else.
Yeah. Like, she outdid pretty much what Taylor had already been doing, but the amount of time was like a fraction of what Taylor had been doing at that point.
Also because the amount of recognition and just reach and audience that Olivia had, because she has said it in like interviews and just everywhere that she had so many people of like all different ages, all different generations come up to her and be like, I really resonated with your song Driver's License. And I think that was kind of like crazy for her to hear, but also for like Taylor to be like, oh, I don't have people telling me that. So again, I mean, it was threatening. Maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Um, um, but whatever quote unquote incident happened between them, um, I think that it was hard for Olivia to have to go through, because like just imagining like yourself growing up listening to this artist and then you finally being in that same industry and becoming friends with this artist and receiving gifts from this artist and like being taken under their wing, and like they obviously care about you so much, and then all of a sudden have it be like ripped away from you. Like I just can't even imagine how she felt in that moment because of how big of a fan that she was growing up.
That's gotta be like so devastating. Like, I couldn't even, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's why they say, like, don't meet your idols, because they're always something that you don't expect them to be, or it just ruins, like, this perfect image that you have of them. And, you know, unfortunately, it's true, especially in the industry. Like, everyone's kind of looking out for themselves.
I mean, the whole industry is a competition. Essentially, it's a whole competition, and everyone's going up against each other because, it's the Grammys. Everyone wants to win this award. Everyone wants to get nominated, but that's just not going to happen in reality. And you have to stick up for yourself and do your own thing. And people are always going to come at you for the things that you do and the things that you win. And there's just really no winning in this industry. And I think that's why it's important for you to have, like, I know Olivia has friends that aren't in the industry, and I think she surrounds herself with those people because of that, because she knows that it is a dark place in the music industry.
Yeah, and then, like, it's sad to, like, especially read an article like this, and in the beginning she's so, like, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and, like, I'm so lucky to have, like, Taylor as a mentor. Like, this industry and, like, this experience so far has been so great for me, and just immediately for it to just burn, like, to the ground, and it must be so lonely and, like, isolating on her end, because, like, she literally had nobody after that. Like, I feel like she doesn't express anymore, like, how much a specific artist means to her anymore. And it's just sad. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, like, I feel like it was, for her, it was kind of like a fever dream. Like, wow, this artist is supporting me and she loves me and all of this. And then all of a sudden she didn't. And she was on the other side of that. And yeah, it kind of just slapped her in the face. Like,
also, I'd like to get your interpretation on Lacey from Guts while we're here. I completely forgot about it until just this very moment. I don't know.
You didn't prep me for this? I'm not prepared.
Yeah, when I initially heard...
Oh, Gracie Abrams.
What? Okay.
No, when I listened to that song for the first time, I thought about Gracie Abrams and the openers on the Eras tour.
Yeah, when I heard that song, I was like, the way that she sings for that specific song with the whispers and the notes that she carries, I thought that Gracie Abrams was like a background vocalist for this song. So yeah, when I hear that song, I think immediately I text Ava and I was like, bro, did she just write this song about Gracie? Like, there's so many like little hidden lyrics in there that I'm like, there's no way that this song is not about Gracie Abrams. And
yeah, it's kind of like You've Got the One Thing That I Want. Yeah. Gracie's relationship with Taylor and opening for her on the Eras tour. She does truly have the one thing that I want.
Yeah, but also it's like, I feel like Olivia just was never meant to be an opening act. Like,
no, she is
the star.
Far beyond opening act material.
So, I don't know. It's a very unfortunate situation. And we will never ever know the true anything, that happened unless somebody comes out with a book or a documentary.
Or unless one of us gets an inside scoop.
or unless somebody knows and wants to let us know, then, you know, that'd be great, you know?
That was a subtle, like, you got me, girl.
You got
yeah, obviously, again, we love them both. We are not picking sides. This is not us putting two successful businesswomen up against each other. It's just, again, inspired by this singular TikTok that we saw, and we were like, let's fucking talk about this because there was a lot that happened, and, you know, I hope that they both learned something from this, and I hope that Olivia is, like, okay. And has, like, moved past the part of, like, anger or frustration about this whole situation.
But if she wants to write more angry, fantastic music, then that's also totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much all we got.
I thought the One Direction episode was going to be our longest one, but I definitely think this one takes the cake.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have anything else to add to that? Are we done?
Nope. I think we're done.
All right. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode so much. If you want to follow us on any of our social media, that'll all be linked down below. All of our personal stuff, YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, will be down below. If you want to follow us on our podcast social media, it is Keeping It Chaotic Pod on everything.
Again, don't come at us for this. These are our opinions, and if you don't agree, that's up to you. Also, let us know your thoughts. DM us. Comment on the YouTube video.
Yeah, and go to our Instagram or TikTok. I don't know where we're posting the set list for Guts Tour yet, but it'll be somewhere. And please let us know your guesses. Do we have any of the same? Was there a song that we possibly missed because it was just so chaotic? But yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.